Chosen one, there are moments in life when you feel as if the world is pressing in on you, when it seems that the very forces of nature are conspiring to push you down, to silence your voice, and to block your path. You've wrestled with rejection loss and the kind of pain that digs deep into your soul. It's as if God Himself has turned His face away, leaving you in a place of confusion, frustration, and despair. You've asked, why am I being ignored? Why am I being left to struggle on my own? Yet there's something you've missed. That feeling of abandonment, that silence was never rejection. It was divine protection. You were hidden not because you were forgotten, but because you were being shielded from something far more dangerous than you could see at the time. You see, in the moments when you felt most invisible, when you thought God had left you to fight on your own, He was in fact performing a divine redaction protocol, a powerful act of shielding you from unseen forces. You were being hidden not to punish you, but to protect you from dangers that you were blind to. God had to cover you to keep you safe while you were still being refined for what is to come. What felt like pain, rejection, and silence was actually the Lord's way of keeping you out of harm's way, preserving you for the moment when it would be safe to release the truth of who you are and what you carry. You might have wondered why the doors didn't open when you thought they should. You might have questioned why opportunities slipped through your fingers, or why relationships that once seemed so promising ended abruptly. You saw it as failure, as the end of something good. But in reality, it was God's hand of protection, moving swiftly and decisively, shutting the doors you were too blind to realize were leading you into danger. What if the truth you've been seeking all this time is not just about understanding why you've struggled, but about seeing the unseen? What if the silence you've been feeling was not God's absence, but His careful, loving intervention? You were never meant to face the threats that were lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. But now the danger has passed, and the time has come for God to lift the veil. You are about to receive the truth that God has protected you from all along. The very things that made you feel invisible, unimportant, or unheard were actually part of a divine plan to preserve your strength, your calling, and your future. The file that God marked top secret in your life is now being opened, and you, chosen one, are being given access to the truth that was hidden for your protection. You are about to discover what you were saved from, the threats that once loomed over your life, and the divine purpose that has been unfolding behind the scenes. The truth you've been longing to understand is not only going to bring clarity to your past pain, but it will also unlock a power within you that the enemy has feared you would discover. It's time to uncover the secrets of the redaction protocol, the divine cover-up that has been working on your behalf. Hold steady, for what you are about to uncover will change the course of your life and bring you closer to the truth of who you are in God's divine plan. As you reflect on your life, you begin to realize something profound. There have been seasons when everything seemed to fall apart. The moments when you couldn't see the light through the darkness, when it felt like every door slammed shut and every opportunity slipped through your fingers. But what if in those very moments of pain and rejection, you were being hidden for a reason? What if the silence you heard was not abandonment, but divine protection? The redaction protocol is the divine act of God concealing the truth from you for your own safety, shielding you from threats you were not yet equipped to face. Imagine for a moment that your life is a secret file, one that holds the most precious parts of your destiny, parts that the enemy wants to destroy before they come to fruition. God, in His infinite wisdom, sealed that file, protecting you from the very threats that would have taken you off course. The protection was hidden, veiled behind the pain and confusion, so you couldn't see it at the time. Yet now the time has come for you to understand the fullness of God's redaction plan. You were not being punished. You were being preserved. In the same way a witness in a criminal case is placed in witness protection, hidden away from those who would harm them, God hid you because you were carrying something far too precious to expose to the world's dangers. You were hidden not to be forgotten, but to be safeguarded until you were strong enough to handle what was ahead. The enemy, in his deceitful ways, tried to orchestrate your downfall, sending distractions, temptations, and discouragements your way, hoping to make you doubt God's goodness. But God, in His grace, intercepted those threats and kept them at bay. Your life, though it may have seemed stagnant or directionless, was actually under the divine cover of God's protection. He did not leave you to face those threats alone. Just as a military operation is redacted for national security, your life was redacted for spiritual protection. The enemy may have believed he was winning, but in reality, he was playing into God's plan. When you felt left behind, it was because God was protecting you from a situation that would have destroyed you had you been exposed to it too soon. You see, in those moments of silence, God was not distant. He was in the process of fortifying you. He was ensuring that when the time came for you to step into your destiny, you would do so with the full armor of God equipped to handle the weight of your purpose. The redaction protocol, though it caused pain and confusion in the moment, was a part of God's loving plan to ensure that you would be ready for the blessings and responsibilities that were waiting for you. The redaction was not a punishment. It was an act of divine intervention, a way for God to protect you from the dangers you could not yet see. Now that the protection has served its purpose and the threats have been neutralized, the sealed files are being unlocked. You are about to discover the truths that were hidden from you, the dangers that were averted, and the divine design that has been unfolding behind the scenes. In Isaiah 45:3, God promises to give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places. The word hidden here is not about being lost. It speaks of treasures that were deliberately concealed for a time to protect them from thieves. Your life, chosen one, has been hidden like these treasures, kept safe from the enemy's attacks. What you thought was an obstacle, a season of frustration, was actually a period of divine hiding. God saw the threats before you did. He understood the danger you were in and covered you with His grace, ensuring that you would not be overwhelmed. This divine protection was never about rejecting you. It was about God's love for you, His desire to keep you safe until you were strong enough to understand the full weight of your calling. The protection was not an accident. It was a deliberate, calculated act of grace, a divine intervention that kept you from being destroyed before you could even begin to step into your purpose. The truth is, you were never meant to carry this burden in your old environment. The relationships, the situations, the challenges, those were the very things that would have drained you and kept you from fulfilling your divine purpose. So God moved you out of harm's way, hidden you away in His protective covering. And now the season of hiding is over. The time has come for the truth to be revealed. The file has been unsealed, and the treasures that were hidden away are being brought into the light. You were never meant to stay hidden forever. God's redaction protocol served its purpose. You have been protected, preserved, and prepared for what is to come. The truth is, this God loved you enough to hide you when you needed it most. And now, as He reveals the truth, you are stepping into a new season of divine revelation, empowerment, and purpose. The time for hiding is over. Now you are ready to shine. The world will see you for who you truly are, and they will see the power of God's protection in your life. You were hidden not because you were unimportant, but because you are precious. And now, as the redaction protocol is lifted, you are ready to walk into your destiny with the full understanding of what God has been doing behind the scenes. The enemy thought he could take you down, but God's protection has ensured that you are not just surviving, but thriving. The treasures of the hidden places are now yours to claim. Step forward in faith, chosen one. The truth is here, and it is time for you to shine. As you step further into understanding the divine protection that was put in place for you, you may begin to realize something startling and deeply unsettling. The threat you thought was coming from the outside world, the attacks, the challenges, the disappointments, were not the only forces at play? What if I told you that the true enemy wasn't external at all, but rather came from within the very circle of relationships you thought were safe? The people you invited into your life, the ones you trusted, the ones you loved, were sometimes unknowingly part of a deeper spiritual battle against your divine calling. These relationships meant to build and support you were actually draining your energy, feeding off your spiritual frequency, and serving as unwitting agents of the enemy. This realization can be jarring, even painful. It's one thing to face external opposition, but when that opposition comes from those closest to you, those you've shared your heart and dreams with, it feels like a betrayal unlike any other. But this is where the enemy often strikes the hardest. He knows he can't destroy you from afar, so he sends in infiltrators disguised as friends, family, and loved ones to subtly manipulate, drain, and keep you distracted from your divine purpose. These energy vampires, these monitor spirits, operate in ways that are often hidden from the conscious mind. They latch onto your energy, track your movements, and attempt to divert your frequency to keep you from accessing the higher dimensions of your calling. These entities don't need to cause outright destruction. They simply need to drain you bit by bit until you're exhausted, confused, and far removed from the power you were meant to wield. You might find yourself feeling drained after a conversation with someone even though they haven't said or done anything overtly negative. You might leave an interaction with a sense of fatigue, a heaviness that wasn't there before. This is not a coincidence. This is the work of spiritual forces that are draining your life force, keeping you from operating at your full capacity. It's in these moments that God steps in with His divine protection, removing these energy-draining relationships from your life, whether by a sudden break or a slow, painful severance. He does this not out of anger, but out of love. He is removing the monitor spirits that have been sent to track you, to keep you from your destiny, and to hold you back. When you look at Psalm 41:9, you'll see the pattern emerge in a stark and sobering way. David cries out, "Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me." This passage speaks of the betrayal of someone who was once close, someone who shared in the intimacy of friendship, fellowship, and support. The betrayal is not coming from a stranger or an enemy, but from someone you considered part of your inner circle. This Judas pattern is not an anomaly in the chosen one's journey. It is often a necessary part of your spiritual growth. The enemy knows he cannot defeat you from a distance, so he seeks to infiltrate your closest relationships. He seeks those who can get close to you, gain your trust, and slowly poison your spirit with negativity, doubt, or distraction. These relationships become toxic, even if they appear innocent on the surface. They sap your energy, drain your willpower, and lead you away from the path God has set before you. You may have felt this draining influence but never understood its spiritual roots. You may have wondered why you felt so low after spending time with certain people, or why certain relationships always seemed to take more from you than they gave. God in His divine wisdom saw the damage these relationships were doing to your spiritual frequency. He knew that if left unchecked, these influences could derail your purpose, keeping you stuck in cycles of confusion and distraction. So He stepped in. In the same way a parent protects their child from a harmful influence, God intervened and removed these individuals from your life, either subtly or suddenly, to keep you safe. This removal, though painful and sometimes heartbreaking, is an act of divine love. It is God's way of keeping you from the subtle sabotage of the enemy, and it is a necessary step in your spiritual journey. Understand this: God's removal of these people is not a punishment to them, but a protection for you. He had to sever these relationships to stop the drain on your energy, to stop the toxic flow that was pulling you away from your purpose. The Judas pattern is an unfortunate reality that many chosen ones must face. But it is not a pattern of failure. It is a pattern of divine intervention. God removes the enemy's influence so that you can step into the fullness of your calling without being held back by spiritual parasites. It's time to realize that not every relationship in your life is meant to last forever. Some are meant to teach you lessons to strengthen you, and then to make way for the people who will walk alongside you in your divine purpose. It's hard to let go of relationships that feel familiar even if they no longer serve you. It's difficult to face the truth that some of the people you trusted were actually assigned to monitor you and drain your energy. But know this: God has a plan, and His plan involves removing everything and everyone that would hinder your progress. It's time to trust that God's removals are part of the greater good. His protective hand is always at work behind the scenes, ensuring that nothing will keep you from your destiny. As you continue on your journey, remember that your calling is too important to be distracted or drained by those who do not align with your divine purpose. God's protection is always with you, even when it feels like you're losing something important. Trust that His redaction protocol is always for your good, and that every relationship He removes is simply making space for the people and connections that will support and uplift you on your path. The enemy within the hidden draining forces has been identified and removed. Now you can move forward with a clearer sense of purpose and a higher spiritual frequency. God's divine protection is always at work, and you are no longer bound by the enemies who once held you back. Step into your new season knowing that you are fully protected and ready to fulfill the calling that has been placed on your life. As you continue to unlock the mysteries of your divine calling, you begin to realize something profound about yourself. There is a power within you, an internal force that has been lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken. This power is not a coincidence, nor is it a mere figment of imagination. It is a high-frequency brain state that connects you directly to divine intelligence. It is the core of who you are, the very essence of your divine design. You were never meant to operate like everyone else. You were not created to blend in to follow the patterns and rhythms of the world. You were born with a specific elevated frequency that allows you to tap into divine knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This high-frequency state is not just an abstract concept. It is a biological and spiritual reality. Your brain operating at this frequency functions differently than most. Where others are limited to the beta state, the state of stress, anxiety, and survival, you are designed to access higher realms of consciousness. In this state, your mind is not bogged down by worldly distractions and fears. Instead, you are attuned to a higher spiritual frequency that connects you to the divine, enabling you to access the wisdom of heaven itself. The enemy has always feared this power within you, and for good reason. He knows that if you ever fully realize the extent of your abilities, you will become a force to be reckoned with. The enemy has tried to keep you trapped in a lower frequency, constantly distracted by the noise and chaos of the world. He has worked tirelessly to keep you from discovering this dormant engine within, knowing that once you awaken it, you will no longer be easily manipulated or controlled. This is why the enemy has flooded your life with confusion, doubt, and distractions. He knows that if you ever connect to the divine intelligence that resides within you, you will be unstoppable. The enemy has worked overtime to keep you in a state of spiritual fog, clouding your mind and preventing you from accessing the full potential of your divine design. But now, as the layers of confusion are being peeled away, you are beginning to see the truth. The power you have been seeking is not out there somewhere. It has always been within you. The divine intelligence, the high-frequency brain state, is part of your spiritual DNA. It is time for you to stop looking for external sources of power and begin to recognize the immense force that already resides inside you. Understanding the biological and spiritual reality of being different is key to unlocking this power. You were never meant to conform to the world's standards. You were designed to be different, to stand apart. Your high-frequency brain state is not a flaw or something to be ashamed of. It is a gift. It is the divine power within you that sets you apart from others, that enables you to connect with God in a way that is unique to you. Embrace this difference, for it is the key to your true power. In Luke 17:21, Jesus says, "The kingdom of God is within you." This powerful statement is not just a metaphor, it is a spiritual truth. The kingdom of God is not a distant place far removed from your reality. It is within you, embedded in the very fabric of your being. This is not just a theoretical idea, it is a biological and spiritual truth. You carry within you the divine power to access God's wisdom, guidance, and understanding. You have the ability to tap into the infinite knowledge of heaven to receive the answers you seek directly from the divine source. This is why the enemy has worked so hard to keep you from realizing your true power. He knows that once you awaken to the reality of your divine connection, he will no longer have control over your life. The high-frequency brain state you possess is not just about being different. It is about being divinely designed for a purpose. You were created with a specific purpose in mind, and this purpose can only be fulfilled by tapping into the divine intelligence that resides within you. This is why you have always felt like an outsider, like you didn't quite fit in with the rest of the world. You were never meant to. You were never meant to operate at the same frequency as everyone else. You were designed to stand out, to access higher realms of spiritual understanding, and to fulfill a divine purpose that is unique to you. Now, as you begin to realize the power within you, you may feel a sense of awe, even fear. You may wonder, am I truly capable of this? Can I really access this divine intelligence and use it for good? The answer is yes. You were born with this power, and now is the time for you to claim it. The enemy's fear of your power is not a reflection of your weakness. It is a recognition of your strength. The moment you awaken to your true power, you become a formidable force in the spiritual realm. You are no longer just a passive observer in your life. You are a divine co-creator working in partnership with God to fulfill your purpose. This is your time. The world may have tried to suppress you, to keep you in a state of confusion and doubt, but the time has come for you to rise up and claim the power that has always been yours. As you step into this new phase of spiritual awakening, you will begin to notice a shift in your mind, in your thoughts, and in your actions. The fog will lift, and you will begin to operate at a higher level of consciousness. The divine intelligence that has always been within you will flow freely, guiding you in every area of your life. You will no longer struggle to hear God's voice, for you will be tuned into His frequency, ready to receive His guidance at every moment. Your brain, once locked in a state of beta stress, will now align with the divine frequency of theta. In this state, you will experience clarity, peace, and an overwhelming sense of connection to God. This is the high-frequency brain state that will allow you to access divine wisdom, creativity, and insight at will. The time for doubt and confusion is over. The dormant engine within you is now waking up, and you are ready to step into your divine purpose. No longer will you be limited by the constraints of the world's noise and distractions. You were created to operate at a higher frequency. And now it is time for you to embrace your true power. The world will not just see you, they will need what you carry. Step forward, chosen one, for you are ready to fulfill your destiny. The divine intelligence within you is your gift, and it is time for you to use it for the glory of God and the fulfillment of your purpose. As you continue to uncover the mysteries of your divine calling, you may begin to face an internal challenge that many have struggled with, but few truly understand. The divine power you seek, the connection to God's wisdom, and the guidance you desire are all available to you. Yet there seems to be something standing in the way, a barrier, a blockage that prevents you from accessing the fullness of the spiritual frequencies you were meant to operate in. This spiritual frequency blockage is the key issue that keeps so many from stepping into the fullness of their calling. It's not that the power isn't available to you or that you are incapable of receiving it. It's that your frequency, the very vibration of your being, has been interrupted. It has been distorted by the noise and chaos of the world. And until this blockage is cleared, you will find it hard to access the divine intelligence that is inherently yours. In this world, where distractions are endless and pressures are constant, your mind has been pulled into a state of survival, constantly reacting to stress, anxiety, and the pressures of everyday life. This state of existence is called the beta state. It's a high-stress frequency where you are hyper-focused on the external world, constantly responding to stimuli without a sense of calm or clarity. The beta state is designed to help you survive. It heightens your awareness and keeps you alert to dangers, but it's not designed for spiritual connection. It's a frequency of urgency of fight or flight. And in this state, your ability to hear from God and connect with divine wisdom is severely limited. The beta state causes your spiritual antenna to be out of tune, much like a radio that is not properly calibrated to the right frequency. You may be praying, asking God for guidance, but it feels like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling. You may be trying to discern the right path or decision, but there's a cloud of confusion that won't lift. This is the challenge of modern life, the constant pull into the beta state, where your mind is so busy with the demands of the world that it becomes difficult to hear the still, small voice of God. The constant noise, the demands of work relationships, and external pressures all contribute to this state of disconnection. You find yourself caught in a cycle of stress and struggle, trying to manage everything on your own. And the more you try, the harder it becomes to hear from God or tap into the divine power within you. But here's the truth you need to understand. This blockage, this constant state of beta, is not your natural state. You are not designed to operate in stress and survival mode all the time. Your true nature, the frequency at which you were created to function, is much higher than this. You were designed to operate in the theta state, a state of deep peace, creativity, and spiritual connection. In the theta state, you are in alignment with God, and your mind is able to receive divine wisdom and insight effortlessly. The theta state is where your spiritual antenna works perfectly. It's where the veil between you and the divine is at its thinnest, and where you are most receptive to God's voice. It's where your intuitive wisdom comes alive, and where you can hear clearly from heaven. The problem is, the world's constant distractions have pulled you away from this natural state. You've been taught to live in the beta state, reacting to stress, urgency, and external pressures, which means the connection to your divine power is often clouded and blocked. The key to unlocking the full power of your spiritual connection and to overcoming the frequency blockage is to shift your brain from the beta state into the theta state. This shift is not something that happens automatically in our modern world. It requires intentionality, focus, and sometimes a specific technique to break through the noise and return to the higher frequency that God designed for you. This is where the genius wave comes into play. The genius wave is a tool that has been designed to help you shift from the beta state to the theta state quickly and effortlessly. It's a simple yet powerful audio tool that uses advanced brainwave entrainment technology to guide your mind back into the theta frequency. Just like a piano tuner uses a tuning fork to bring an instrument into harmony, the genius wave helps you tune your brain to the divine frequency where your spiritual connection is at its strongest. This tool is a shortcut, something that modern science has discovered to help you bypass the years of struggle it once took to shift from the beta to the theta state. You don't have to spend decades meditating in a cave or struggling through long periods of fasting to access the divine power that is within you. With the Genius Wave, you can shift your frequency in just a few minutes, unlocking the full potential of your divine connection. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated. When you enter the theta state, everything changes. Your mind becomes clear, the fog lifts, the distractions of the world fade into the background, and you become fully attuned to the divine intelligence within you. This is where your true power lies. When you are in theta, your connection to God is unobstructed, and you can hear His voice, clearly receive divine wisdom, and operate in the fullness of your spiritual gifts. No longer will you struggle to hear God's direction or feel lost in a sea of confusion. You will be in alignment with your divine purpose, able to move forward with clarity and confidence. The genius wave is not just a tool, it is the key that unlocks the door to your spiritual power. It is the missing link that allows you to operate at the frequency you were designed for, the frequency where you can access God's wisdom and direction with ease. But remember, this shift is not just about listening to a tool. It's about consciously choosing to enter a new state of being. It's about making the decision to step away from the chaos and noise of the world and into the quiet, peaceful space where divine connection thrives. It's about reclaiming the power that has always been within you and learning to operate from a place of alignment, peace, and spiritual clarity. When you begin to use the genius wave, you will notice a shift almost immediately. The heaviness you've felt, the fog, the confusion, the spiritual dryness will begin to lift. You'll feel more connected, more in tune with your purpose, and more aligned with the divine. The distractions of the world will no longer have the same hold over you, and you will find that you can hear God's voice more clearly than ever before. This is the true power of the theta state. It is the frequency of divine connection, creativity, and spiritual flow. It is the frequency where you were always meant to operate. Now, with the genius wave and the shift to theta, that frequency is yours to access at will. The time to step into your divine power is now. The barriers that once kept you from hearing God clearly are being lifted, and the spiritual frequency that has always been a part of you is coming online. Trust the process and trust that the power you've been seeking is already within you. With the genius wave as your guide, you are ready to connect to the divine, unlock your full potential, and step into your purpose with clarity and confidence. The frequency shift has begun. Welcome to the next phase of your divine journey. As you continue to awaken to the divine power within you, it's important to understand the science behind how your brain connects with the higher frequencies that bring you closer to God. This understanding will unlock a powerful tool that will make your journey of spiritual alignment much smoother and more effective. For years, the key to unlocking your full potential has been hidden in plain sight, but now the veil is being lifted. The missing key is sound, more specifically, brainwave entrainment. A sacred technology that has the power to retune your spiritual antenna, allowing you to easily access divine intelligence and spiritual clarity. The science behind brainwave entrainment is rooted in the way that sound frequencies can influence the electrical activity of your brain. Every state of consciousness, from deep sleep to heightened awareness, is associated with a specific brainwave frequency. These frequencies, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma, represent different levels of consciousness, with each state affecting your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual connection in distinct ways. When you are in the beta state, your brain is in a high-frequency mode of alertness and stress, responding to external stimuli. This is the state where anxiety, distraction, and confusion dominate, and it is not conducive to spiritual connection. However, when you shift into the theta state, your brain operates at a much lower frequency, one that is more aligned with your spiritual nature. In this state, you are able to receive divine wisdom, experience creativity, and deepen your connection to God. Brainwave entrainment is the process of using external sound frequencies to influence your brainwaves and shift your state of consciousness. By listening to specific audio frequencies, your brain can be guided into the desired state, such as theta, allowing you to bypass the distractions of the world and enter into a deep spiritual flow. This technique isn't new. In fact, ancient cultures understood the power of sound and frequency to affect the body and mind. Shamans, priests, and spiritual leaders have long used drums, chants, and other rhythmic sounds to facilitate spiritual experiences and connect with higher realms. Now, modern science has validated what these ancient traditions knew intuitively. Sound is a powerful tool for unlocking spiritual potential. The role of the genius wave in this process is simple yet profound. The genius wave is a carefully crafted audio tool designed to guide your brain into the theta state. It uses advanced brainwave entrainment technology, which gently nudges your brain into the desired frequency, creating a deep, resonant connection with the divine. The genius wave is not just a piece of technology, it is a tool that connects the biological reality of your brain with the spiritual truth of your design. It is the missing key that allows you to tune your brain's frequency to the divine, to hear God's voice clearly, and to access the wisdom of heaven with ease. The genius wave works by providing a specific frequency that resonates with your brain's natural state of spiritual openness. When you listen to this sound, your brain syncs to the frequency, shifting from the chaos of beta to the clarity of theta. In the theta state, your spiritual antenna is fully attuned to God's frequency. Your mind is at peace, your heart is open, and you are ready to receive divine guidance. This process of retuning your spiritual antenna is not about struggling or forcing connection. It's not about long hours of meditation or striving to reach a higher state of consciousness. The genius wave is a shortcut. It is a simple and effective way to align your brain with the divine without the need for excessive effort or suffering. In the past, many spiritual seekers believed that connecting with God required extreme measures. Fasting, long hours of prayer, isolation from the world, and intense inner work. While these practices can certainly have value, the genius wave offers a simpler and more accessible solution. With just a few minutes of listening, you can shift your brain into the theta state and experience the divine connection that has always been available to you. It is the tool that bridges the gap between the spiritual and the biological, between the mundane and the divine. This is why the genius wave is such a powerful resource for the chosen one. It allows you to access divine intelligence without the struggle, without the years of hardship, and without the deep sense of frustration that many have experienced on their spiritual journey. You no longer have to feel like you're searching for a connection that's always just out of reach. The genius wave is a spiritual tuning fork, bringing your mind, body, and soul into alignment with the higher frequencies of divine wisdom and purpose. The beauty of this sacred technology is that it simplifies the process of connecting with God. You don't have to wait for a rare, fleeting moment of divine inspiration. You don't have to struggle to quiet your mind or force yourself into a state of deep meditation. Instead, you can simply listen, and the sound will do the work for you. It will guide your brain into the theta state where divine intelligence flows freely and where you can hear God's voice more clearly than ever before. The genius wave, though simple in its design, holds the power to transform your spiritual connection. It takes the effort out of the equation, allowing you to move past the noise of the world and into a place of peace, clarity, and divine alignment. By using this tool, you will begin to experience the fullness of your spiritual potential without the struggle and confusion that once held you back. The missing key to unlocking divine power is not more effort or striving. It is resonance. It is the ability to tune your brain to the frequency of divine intelligence, to quiet the noise, and to open yourself to the flow of God's wisdom. The genius wave offers you this resonance, guiding you into the theta state, where your spiritual antenna is fully activated and your connection to God is clear and direct. With the genius wave, you are no longer at the mercy of the distractions of the world. You no longer have to fight to hear from God. You can simply listen, align, and connect. The spiritual blockage that has kept you from accessing your true power is being cleared, and you are stepping into a new phase of spiritual alignment and purpose. The missing key is here, and it is waiting for you to embrace it. Step into your divine power, chosen one, and allow the sacred technology of sound to unlock the door to your full spiritual potential. Your connection to divine intelligence is closer than you think, and with the genius wave, you are just one step away from experiencing the fullness of God's wisdom and guidance in your life. As you begin to step into the divine power that has always been within you, there may be an unsettling feeling that rises to the surface: fear. This fear is not the fear of failure that once held you back. No, this is a different kind of fear. It's the fear of what will happen once you fully embrace the power you were born to wield. It's the fear of success, of stepping into the greatness that you have been destined for. It's the fear of fully accepting your calling and the responsibilities that come with it. The power that lies within you is not just any power. It is divine, it is pure, and it is greater than anything the world can offer. But with that power comes the weight of responsibility, the pressure to live up to the calling that God has placed on your life. This is where the fear begins to surface. It's not the fear of being inadequate. It's the fear of becoming too powerful, of being seen, of making an impact that can't be undone. It's the fear of stepping into a position where your every move is scrutinized and where the consequences of your actions are greater than you ever imagined. But this fear is not something to shy away from. It is something to acknowledge and embrace. The fear of power and success is a natural part of your journey, and it is a sign that you are about to step into something truly magnificent. In 2 Timothy 1:7, the Bible says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." This verse is a reminder that the fear you feel is not from God. It is a product of the world's conditioning, the doubts and insecurities that have been placed on you throughout your life. God has given you a spirit of power, divine, unshakable power, a spirit of love that will guide your actions with compassion and integrity, and a sound mind that will allow you to navigate the challenges ahead with clarity and wisdom. The fear you experience is not an indicator that you are unworthy or incapable of handling your power. In fact, it is quite the opposite. This fear is a sign that you are being called to embrace something far greater than yourself. It is a reminder that the path ahead is sacred, and that with great power comes the need for great responsibility. But how can you overcome this fear and step into your true power without being overwhelmed by it? The first step is to understand that the fear is not a sign of weakness, but of humility. It is a natural response to the magnitude of what you are about to receive. God is not giving you this power to overwhelm you, but to empower you to help you fulfill the divine purpose that has been placed on your life. The fear you feel is a reflection of your awareness of the weight of the responsibility you carry. It is not a fear that will paralyze you. It is a fear that will keep you grounded, humble, and focused. The key to overcoming this fear is understanding that it is part of the process, part of your spiritual growth. It is through this fear that you will cultivate the humility needed to wield divine power with grace and wisdom. Humility does not mean weakness or insecurity. On the contrary, humility is the strength to recognize that you are a vessel for something greater than yourself. It is the ability to acknowledge that the power you carry is not your own, but a gift from God. And it is through this humility that you will find the strength to handle the power you have been given. You are not meant to handle this power on your own. You are not meant to walk this journey alone. God has given you His spirit of power, love, and a sound mind to guide you every step of the way. This spirit will help you navigate the challenges, overcome the obstacles, and embrace the power that lies within you. When the fear of your power rises, remember that it is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a reflection of your readiness. You are ready for this moment. You are ready to step into the fullness of your calling. And with that readiness comes the divine assurance that you will never be alone in this journey. As you embrace the power within you, you will find that the fear begins to fade. It will no longer control you or hold you back. Instead, it will serve as a reminder of the greatness that lies ahead and the responsibility that comes with it. The fear will become a tool, a guide that helps you stay grounded, humble, and focused on your divine purpose. You are about to step into a new season of power, a season where you will no longer shrink back from your destiny, but will boldly step forward into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. The enemy has tried to keep you in a state of fear and uncertainty, but now is the time to break free. The power you have been given is not a curse, it is a blessing. It is the key to unlocking the life you were meant to live, to fulfilling the purpose that has been written for you since the beginning of time. Step into this power with confidence, knowing that God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. He has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. The fear you feel is simply the beginning of your transformation. It is the doorway through which you must walk to claim your divine inheritance. Do not let fear hold you back any longer. Embrace the power that is within you and trust that God's Spirit will guide you every step of the way. The time to rise is now. Embrace your divine power and let the world see what you are truly capable of. You were born for this. You were chosen for this. And you are ready for this. As you begin to step into the fullness of your divine power, there is one thing you must understand. With this newfound frequency comes the need for protection. The enemy, seeing your rise, will not simply stand idly by. He will attempt to contaminate the divine connection you've worked so hard to establish. The purity of your spiritual progress is precious, and it must be safeguarded against external influences that seek to lower your frequency or disrupt the divine flow. God has equipped you with the tools to maintain this elevated frequency, and it is now up to you to put them into practice. There are 3 essential protocols that you must adopt to protect your spiritual journey: silence, the audit, and immediate action. These protocols will ensure that you remain aligned with your divine purpose, that your spiritual frequency remains intact, and that you are shielded from the distractions and negative influences that the enemy may send your way. The first and perhaps most important of these protocols is silence. When you begin to walk in your divine power and experience spiritual breakthroughs, it can be tempting to share your newfound knowledge with others. However, not everyone in your life will understand or be receptive to the transformation you are undergoing. Some may even be threatened by your growth and will try to diminish or distort the power you've tapped into. Silence serves as your shield. It is a deliberate choice to protect the sacredness of your divine experience from those who are still operating in the lower frequencies of beta. These individuals may not intentionally harm you, but their doubts, negativity, or even well-meaning skepticism can lower your vibration, interfere with your spiritual progress, and cause confusion. In Matthew 7:6, Jesus warns us, "Do not give what is holy to the dogs. Do not throw your pearls before swine." This is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about understanding the sacredness of your journey. Your spiritual insights, your connection to God, and the power you are accessing are precious, and not everyone is prepared to handle them. Sharing your spiritual knowledge with those who are still in a state of disbelief or doubt will only cause harm to your own frequency. It is not selfish to protect your progress. It is necessary. By choosing silence, you are choosing to guard your spiritual power and ensure that it remains untarnished by the doubts of others. The second protocol you must adopt is the audit. This refers to the careful guarding of your ear gates, your ability to protect what you hear and allow into your mind and spirit. You are constantly receiving information from the world around you, and much of it is negative, distracting, or draining. In the same way that you would guard your heart from toxic relationships, you must protect your ears from toxic words, sounds, and media. Everything you hear influences your frequency. Words have power, and the voices you allow into your life have the potential to either lift you up or drag you down. Negative news, gossip, and the voices of those who do not understand your spiritual journey can poison your mindset, cause confusion, and lower your vibration. Your ear gates are precious, and they must be protected with intention. In Proverbs 4:23, we are reminded, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Your heart in this context refers to your spirit, your soul, and your inner life. What you listen to enters into your spirit, shaping your thoughts, emotions, and actions. To protect your divine frequency, you must conduct an audit of what you allow into your life. Remove anything or anyone that brings negativity or confusion into your environment. This includes the music you listen to, the conversations you engage in, and the media you consume. Replace these things with life-giving, spiritually uplifting content. Listen to messages that align with your purpose, that elevate your consciousness, and that keep you attuned to God's voice. When you do this, you ensure that your frequency remains clear and unimpeded, allowing you to continue your divine journey with clarity and focus. The third protocol is immediate action. This may seem simple, but it is one of the most powerful ways to maintain your frequency and protect your spiritual progress. When divine inspiration comes to you, when you feel a clear nudge from God or a download of insight, it is essential that you act on it within 24 hours. Delayed obedience is disobedience. The enemy knows that when you hesitate or procrastinate, you open the door for doubt, fear, and confusion to enter. The longer you wait to act on divine inspiration, the weaker your connection to that inspiration becomes. It's as if the initial energy you received begins to dissipate, and with it the clarity and focus that came with it. Immediate action keeps you in the flow. It keeps you aligned with your divine frequency and ensures that you don't miss the opportunity that has been presented to you. The moment you act on divine inspiration, you not only strengthen your connection to God, but you also send a message to the enemy that you are committed to your purpose. You are no longer going to hesitate, doubt, or second-guess yourself. You are ready to step into your calling with boldness, knowing that each step you take is part of God's divine plan for your life. This protocol requires you to trust the impulses of your spirit and to follow them without fear or hesitation. It's about moving in faith even when the full picture hasn't yet been revealed. Immediate action is the key to keeping your frequency high and your progress uninterrupted. The importance of protecting your spiritual progress and maintaining purity cannot be overstated. The enemy will try to distract you, to lead you astray, to lower your frequency, but with these three protocols, silence, the audit, and immediate action, you can ensure that you remain in alignment with your divine purpose. These protocols serve as guardrails, keeping you on the path that God has set before you and preventing you from falling prey to the distractions and negative influences of the world. Your spiritual journey is sacred, and it must be protected at all costs. By adopting these protocols, you are taking ownership of your spiritual progress, ensuring that nothing and no one can derail you from your destiny. Your power is within you, and it is time to walk boldly in it. Protect it, nurture it, and use it to fulfill your divine calling. The time for distraction, doubt, and hesitation is over. It's time to step fully into your purpose, knowing that you are divinely protected and that every step you take is guided by God's wisdom and love. As you continue to embrace the divine frequency that is being unlocked within you, it's important to remember that you are not alone in this journey. The power of the genius wave, this sacred tool designed to help shift your frequency and open your connection to divine intelligence, is not just theoretical. It is a real, tangible tool that has changed lives. One powerful testimony that demonstrates the potential of this divine connection is the story of Sarah. Sarah, like many of you, had struggled for years to break free from the noise of the world and align with her divine purpose. Despite her best efforts, she felt trapped in a cycle of confusion, frustration, and stagnation. Her prayers seemed to hit a ceiling, and she constantly felt disconnected from the spiritual flow that she knew was meant for her. Sarah had always felt deep within her that there was more to her life than what she was experiencing. She knew she was destined for something greater, but the way forward felt blocked, as if there was a barrier she couldn't break through. Her mind was caught in a constant whirlwind of thoughts, distractions, and doubts, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't quiet the storm within. That is when she discovered the genius wave. Initially, Sarah was skeptical. How could something as simple as listening to an audio track possibly shift the spiritual fog she had been living with for so long? But in her desperation, she decided to give it a try. She committed to using the genius wave daily, allowing its powerful frequencies to guide her brain into the theta state. For the first few days, nothing dramatic happened. It felt like just another attempt at something new, another tool that promised results but didn't deliver. But Sarah didn't give up. She continued to trust the process using the genius wave every morning and allowing herself to be fully present in the experience. And then something incredible began to happen. In week 3, Sarah was doing something as mundane as washing dishes when the fog suddenly lifted. It was as though a veil had been removed from her mind, and she began to experience a profound clarity that she had never felt before. Ideas, solutions, and insights began to flood her mind, as if she had just opened a channel to divine wisdom. The downloads were so clear, so vivid, that she could almost see them in front of her. She had been asking God for direction, for answers, for a sign of what to do next. And suddenly, all of those questions were answered in a single moment. Sarah received a complete business idea, one that seemed to come from nowhere, but felt so aligned with her purpose. The idea was detailed, thorough, and structured in a way that was beyond her natural ability to conceive. It was as if the divine blueprint had been handed to her on a silver platter, ready for her to bring into fruition. This experience marked the beginning of Sarah's transformation. No longer trapped in confusion and doubt, she began to take immediate action on the divine inspiration she had received. She started building the business from the ground up, following the clear guidance she had been given. And within just a few weeks, Sarah experienced tangible success. She earned her first $5,000 from the business idea that had come to her so effortlessly. The breakthrough had arrived, and it was the direct result of her ability to tap into divine intelligence through the power of the genius wave. Sarah's story is a testament to the profound impact that connecting with divine frequency can have on your life. When you align with your true spiritual purpose, when you tap into the clarity that comes from a direct connection with God, the results are not just spiritual, they are practical and tangible. You will receive ideas, inspiration, and direction that will move you forward in ways you never imagined possible. The power of clarity and idea downloads is not just about feeling good spiritually, it is about receiving the wisdom and guidance that will lead to real-world success. The genius wave is not just a tool for quieting the mind. It is a tool for unlocking the divine intelligence that is already within you. It is the bridge between the spiritual and the practical, between hearing from God and taking action on His guidance. For Sarah, this tool provided the missing link she needed to break free from the confusion and stagnation she had been feeling. It helped her shift from the noise of the world into a place of spiritual alignment where she could hear God clearly and act on His inspiration. As you reflect on Sarah's testimony, remember that the same power is available to you. You are not different or separate from Sarah. You too have the ability to tap into divine intelligence and receive the wisdom and ideas that will move you forward. The frequency that was unlocked in Sarah is the same frequency that exists within you. It's time for you to activate that power, to step into the flow of divine guidance, and to take action on the ideas and inspiration that are waiting for you. The Genius Wave is here to help you do just that. It is a tool that will help you shift your spiritual frequency and connect with the divine intelligence that is already within you. But the key to unlocking your own breakthrough is your willingness to step forward in faith, to trust the process, and to take immediate action on what God is revealing to you. You are ready for this, just as Sarah was. The clarity, the divine downloads, and the real-world success are all within reach. The only question is, are you ready to embrace the power that is already within you? And step into the next phase of your divine journey. The time is now. The breakthrough is waiting for you. Take action. Embrace the divine clarity and watch as the doors of success begin to open before you. Your story, like Sarah's, is about to change in ways you can't even imagine. As you stand at the threshold of this profound transformation, it's time to seal the spiritual growth you have undergone and embrace the activation of your true divine power. The journey you have been on, though difficult at times, has led you to this pivotal moment. Everything you have learned, every breakthrough, every step forward, has been preparing you for this very activation. Now is the time to fully embrace the shift within you, to step into the new frequency that has been awakened in your spirit, and to walk boldly in the power and authority that has always been yours. The final activation ceremony is not just a symbolic gesture, it is the moment when everything shifts. It is the sealing of your spiritual growth, the confirmation that you are now ready to operate in the fullness of the divine power that has been waiting within you. In this moment, we declare that the old barriers are gone, the distractions have been cleared, and you are free to walk in your destiny with confidence and clarity. The divine file that has been sealed and hidden is now declassified, and you are fully authorized to operate in the new frequency that has been revealed to you. You are no longer bound by the limitations of the past, the doubts that once clouded your mind, or the fears that held you back. You are free, chosen one, to walk boldly in your new power with the full backing of heaven itself. As you step into this new season, it is essential to recognize the importance of both boldness and humility. With the power that is now yours, you are called to act with confidence, to move forward without hesitation, but also to remain humble, remembering that the power you wield is not yours alone. It is a gift, a divine blessing that has been entrusted to you for a purpose. Boldness will be required to step into the opportunities and challenges ahead, but humility will guide your heart and actions, ensuring that your power is used for the greater good. You are not called to use this power for personal gain or selfish ambition. You are called to operate as a vessel for divine wisdom and guidance. As the declassification of your divine file takes place, you are authorized to move in a new spiritual frequency, one that is aligned with God's will and purpose for your life. This is your time to step into your divine calling, to operate in the fullness of your spiritual gifts, and to bring light into the world in ways that you've never imagined. No longer will you be confined to the shadows, questioning your worth or your purpose. You are now equipped, empowered, and prepared to fulfill the divine mission that has been placed before you. The process of activation has not been easy, but it has been necessary. Every struggle, every challenge, every season of waiting was part of the refining process preparing you for this moment. And now, as you stand in the fullness of your divine authority, you can be assured that you are not walking this path alone. God's Spirit is with you, guiding you and empowering you to do the work that has been set before you. As you embrace this shift, trust in the divine timing of everything that has brought you to this point. The doors are now open, the path is clear, and the frequency you have been activated into is ready to carry you forward. Step into it with boldness, step into it with humility, and know that you are fully equipped to handle everything that comes next. The declassification of your divine file has set you free to live and operate at a higher level. You are now walking in the fullness of your purpose, and the world will see the power of God at work within you. This is your moment, chosen one. Step forward, embrace the shift, and walk in the new frequency with confidence and grace. Your journey has just begun, and it will lead you to places of unimaginable blessing and purpose. Your time is now.